to the Influence Factory podcast. This program is dedicated to support professionals who have a desire to develop their digital business influence so they can navigate through a fast-paced, constantly growing digital world. We invite newcomers as well as our family of business influencers to a place to play, share ideas, questions, tips, and guidance with other thought leaders around the globe. Sit back and enjoy our program with our host Dean DeLisle as he interviews guests. News and commentary is provided by Cait Hassett and Jackson DeLisle. Power Move lessons are provided by the Influencer Marketing Department at Social Jack. And production, editing, and distribution is provided by the Social Jack production team.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Influence Factory. We have a great show for you today with a very special guest that we'll be announcing here in a few minutes. Can't wait to have her on. Also, remember, the more you engage, the more you win. We have prizes. So we have prizes for Facebook engagement and Zoom engagement. So we have two live streaming audiences going on at once. And who knows, as the future of internet television goes, how many we'll have in the future. Cait, we have, did you say Emily's on the desk for helping with social today? So how do people engage with social?
So, of course, you can watch this live in the Facebook group, Business Influence Alliance, and you'll have to request to join, but Emily will be there to let you in. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and also on Twitter at GetSocialJack, and we'll be live tweeting the event right there.
Right on, hashtag Influence Factory. So let's rock and roll that. And then, Jackson, I know you always like surprises. So we have an instant flash class that's going to flash in next Thursday at noon that just got created a couple hours ago. We created it for the people coming out of the gathering, and now we're going to have it for a whole bunch of other people too. So we'll make sure that everybody that listens in gets an invitation for that. But we're actually going to cover some new features in LinkedIn that a lot of people didn't know about. We're also going to cover some ways to easily score your profile and jump that profile to the top. So I know everybody's interested in that. So it's a little bit of some repeat stuff and then some new things in there as well. So with that being said, we're rocking and rolling. In terms of platform distribution, Jackson, so different people, I'm sort of curious if people that are listening could chat and just let us know, how do you normally consume your podcasts? So if you sort of curious, like, are you more of a YouTube person? Are you an iTunes person? Are you Google Play? Sort of curious. And Jackson, while they're typing that in, where can people download this after the show?
So after the show, you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. You can download it on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and also Spotify in the near future. We're not on it yet, but we're looking to get on it shortly. So
yeah, cool stuff. So the world is growing for sure. All right. So with that being said, let's introduce the news. So today's news is brought to you by the News Desk with Cait Hassett and Jackson DeLisle, and this is the Influencer News Update. So we have 7 tips for using visual content marketing. Take it away.
Yeah. So, in the past couple of years, we've probably all noticed that we've evolved into a very visual oriented world. That can be proven by just watching an Apple commercial. If you watch an Apple commercial and literally any of their ads, they're all visual. It's usually visual with music in the background, but there's little to no talking because, what this article really discusses is the importance of visuals due to the fact that our brain only needs 1/10 of a second to process and remember an image as opposed to something that we've heard or read. We're also 6 times more likely to remember an image over things we've heard from others or, read in an article. So, that's a very big thing. And, visual consists of photos, graphics, videos, obviously, and then also infographics. Now, we noticed that some of those visual aspects and they perform better on other platforms than, some of their counterparts. So Instagram is not really the place to put an infographic. We noticed that those don't perform as well due to the fact that they have words on the graphic. The words are, for some reason, they don't come across as well on Instagram as like if you post a infographic on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, you're going to see a lot of engagement. People are much more likely to share. This article actually mentions that you'll see 12% more traffic on the post and 200% more in shares. So who wouldn't want 200% more in shares? So that's a really big thing. And, like I said, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, they're more versatile. You post a video, photo, graphic, infographic, any of those things, they tend to be very versatile on their audience and what their audience likes. So Instagram really just, I would say, stay away from infographics and move towards the other aspects of visual. So talking about the 7 steps, the top ones are, use images that are easy to understand. And then so that means, ones that get your message across without you having to explain the message. Number 2, use a variety of image types and formats. So graphics, infographics, images with people of different things. So that's another big thing is, use a wide variety, but still making sure they're easy to understand and you don't have to explain it. And then the biggest one, in my opinion, is number 3, make sure you're observing copyright laws for the web. Because a lot of people I find that are, trying to find relevant images, but are kind of blind to the fact that, these are copywritten. So that's a big thing that, I know a lot of you understand. I just want to stress that a lot because that could save time and money. Number 4, optimize the visuals with keywords for SEO and hashtags for social. That's a big one because you want to boost your SEO across the board. So make sure that, your file names, things like that are in the, you have your keywords in them, have a couple of them, at least the company name or the project name, something that is public that will be easy to find, and that'll also help with SEO.
So hold on, Cait, you do a ton of this. So what about from your viewpoint in terms of you guys are on the ground, really helping people with visual? And I know sometimes we get stuck on some of these things. So what do you have for us?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that he mentioned that I loved was like the infographic for Instagram and how it, that's not really where it goes. And so I think people kind of lose sight of the fact that just like we write to our audiences differently on different social media sites, we also present content to them differently in visual form. So, it's important, not even just from perspective of, I read an article that said this isn't going to perform well on Instagram. It's kind of looking at what performs well with your audience and adjusting. So we know things like infographics don't go well from a statistic, but what are the other things that are doing well with your audience on different platforms? And that's what's going to make you want to create more. Obviously, we're seeing visuals on LinkedIn, like LinkedIn video is huge right now. That's what everybody is doing to help position themselves as a thought leader and to connect to their audience, make content that creates value. So if you put out a couple videos and you see you're doing well, that's something that you'll want to continue. But like we want to cater to our different platforms because those long form videos that are doing really well on LinkedIn, they're not even going to fit on Instagram. So you just kind of want to be very mindful of who you're talking to on what platform and how you're saying it, even visually.
Yeah. What about stock images versus natural images? Because, the stock image business has, been booming for the last decade and there's a ton of them out there. And that gets into the copyright stuff that Jackson was talking about. Always make sure you either buy them or it's royalty free. But, it's almost like the comments are that try and get away from stock images if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think where we run into this issue a lot is when you're posting thought leadership content, someone else's article that's not yours. Obviously you need to use an image of some sort because we know that links with images are going to get better pictures. So try to use the preview photo if you can. We find that a lot of thought leadership content nowadays out there doesn't have a picture attached. So I do recommend using a stock photo before you put no photo whatsoever, and keeping in mind that you want to use something that you can use free. We like unsplash.com. Those are pictures that you can use, repurpose. We see them a lot online. But in terms of if you can get a normal picture, a real picture of people having fun, of people laughing, engaged, that's not a stock photo, hands down, go for people over stock any day.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah. And I think, Jackson, to your point on hashtags, I think people get caught up on hashtags and actually forget about keywords. So just, what's really important is adding titles and descriptions when you're posting your pictures. They give you plenty of real estate to do that. Don't forget your business name and your name, especially if you're the influencer or the thought leader. So make sure that you actually put that information or that data in there and setting that digital footprint for yourself. And then, Cait, I know you guys deal a lot with keywords. Anything else to add on that?
Yeah, I think also when you're sharing content, it's not necessarily exactly what the post is going to be about, but more so what you want to be found for. So for instance, we have clients that are sharing articles that maybe talk about blockchain to an extent, but that's not the main focus of why they're sharing it. They're sharing it for a completely different reason. So it's almost misleading to hashtag it as blockchain because that's not what they necessarily want to be found for. So your keywords in terms of an individual are what you want to be found for. So keep those up front and then try really hard not to spam people. We say that the best number of keywords for LinkedIn is 7. Facebook, we don't really suggest using keywords hashtags. People don't use them as often. Instagram, you can use a lot more, but you don't want to spam. You don't want to just list out all these hashtags, just, follow for, follow back, whatever they are. You don't want to spam people with the hashtags. You want to keep it clear and concise. You know what you want to be found for. You know what you want to talk about. And so you want to just keep that list very small, 7 or under.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I think people forget that when you're putting a hashtag in anything, you're actually calling a community to come to you. And so that community is going to build trust in you as a thought leader if you're reliable in your messaging. So to Cait's point, if you use a hashtag, make sure it's totally relevant to what the users are reading, or they're not going to trust you and they're going to unfollow you and ignore you when they get the hashtag signal.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, I just wanted to say that, like Dean said, with having a relevant hashtag, I would suggest doing the research on those hashtags first, searching, seeing what kind of content is posting up. If this isn't related, if the content that's posting up isn't related to what you're trying to post, the message you're trying to get across, then I would say do not use that hashtag because you're going to get a lot of people that it's not in their wheelhouse of what they're looking for. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. And I will, make sure to tweet out this article after the show is over. That way you guys will have it immediately. You can also find all of our show notes in the resource center, in the description on YouTube, as well as on the podcast. So make sure to check those out and take a look at that after the fact. You can also tweet to us throughout the week and ask us questions. Let us know what kind of articles you want to hear about, because we can find articles about that. That way we're covering things that, are meaningful to you guys as well. And we know what you guys are looking for. So.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, thanks, Cait and Jackson. Awesome news as always. It's amazing how much there is to learn out here, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, let's go into our power move. One of the power moves is really related to the guests that I have coming on today. This is called time blocking your influence. And timely enough, we just taught a class on time blocking and time tracking on Monday with Centrist Bank. And, what's interesting about this is if you're going to write a book, if you're going to be an influencer, you have to block time to do the book, you have to block time to be an influencer and be with your audience. So that's why in Social Jack, we have you block just 20 minutes a day to hold consciousness that your job is to be a community manager, to go out there and have conversations, meaningful conversations, and reel in the actual audience that you really want to have and have those relationships with. So you're building relationships. And again, make sure you're committed to that, because if you just go in there every once in a while, people aren't going to trust or know when you're going to be in there. So it is a little bit of a daily discipline, but 20 minutes a day is all you should have. And to Jackson's point, if you do log into Social Jack, you'll find classes in there to walk you through content mapping and all the stuff that Cait and her team do, sort of showing you the behind the scenes of how to effectively post content out there. So that is today's power move.
Thank you for listening to the Influence Factory podcast. We welcome feedback and suggestions. You can provide these by visiting our website at www.myinfluencefactory.com. And if you are interested in Social Jack's 90 Days to Influence program, you can simply go to 90daystobusinessinfluence.com and simply ask for the next steps. While our program airs regularly on Zoom webcasts and Facebook Live on Wednesdays at noon Central, we invite you to download episodes on your favorite channel: YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and who knows where else in the future. We will also provide occasional on-location live streams with special guests that we will announce in our community Facebook group, Business Influencer Alliance, as well as on all Social Jack channels. Our mission is to help you build your digital business influence with this podcast, as well as inspire, educate, and entertain those who are hungry to collaborate in a cool place with cool business professionals just like you.